Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast. Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Muneeb Mushtaq. Muneeb Mushtaq is an award-winning serial entrepreneur who has co-founded 3 tech companies to date. His entrepreneur journey expands over a decade as he started at the age of only 18 years and sold his first startup within 2 years. He then co-founded his second startup called Ask for Task, which is the second largest on-demand service platform in Canada. The company received the award of fastest growing startup in North America in 2017. Muneeb most recently co-founded a third tech startup called Airzai, a tech-first CPG-based startup that's innovating in the fragrance industry. The flagship product is called Airzai Aroma, a smart home diffuser that works with a smart app and uses premium Swiss-made fragrances containing natural ingredients. The company recently introduced a new line of air and surface disinfectant products in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic called Airzai Care. Well, good afternoon, Muneeb. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Awesome, Muneeb. This is great. You have a strong and successful journey in the entrepreneur space, and I really wanted to talk to you about that today, especially around tech companies. You've founded several, and now your recent startup is Airzai. Could you share with our audience the secret to your drive and success?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I like to call myself serial entrepreneur. I think it's one of those modern terms where, when you're so passionate and you see so much opportunity coming up in the world, you just don't stop at doing one thing. It's just so exciting to build one thing or start something from nothing, build it, bring it to a certain stage, then you go on to building other things. So I've been a serial entrepreneur for almost 10 years. And to answer your question, I think the biggest drive is just doing exactly what my passion is or whatever I'm passionate about. It does not matter what industry it's from or what we're looking to disrupt. It's just that when I see massive opportunity and we're just like, hey, you know what, this is something that we can see happening or changing our daily life. That's what makes me jump out of the bed every single day. And that just gets everybody pumped to sort of dedicate the time and work towards in our team.
Great. That's awesome. I appreciate you sharing. And, I think every entrepreneur or CEO type that I've had on the show is expressed the same energy. And, we want to all know what you're all drinking. That's for sure. Just kidding.
Lots of coffee.
Lots of coffee.
Sure.
That's amazing. No, thank you very much, Muneeb. As you know, everybody globally has to make major shifts and adapt to this new normal with the pandemic, right? Could you share with us what you're doing to adjust and stay relevant in this economy?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the things that I'm very proactively sharing with the world. And we went through a lot of things, it was a roller coaster ride for us, literally, because what has happened is, Brian, that the product that we're inventing with Airzai, it's a smart home fragrance diffuser, right? So think of it as like Nespresso for diffusers, where you buy a cartridge, pop it in, connects with your phone, and voila, you have a premium fragrance in your house. We've spent almost 2 years doing intensive R&D on the product. And our team was working diligently to get the product to the market. We're headquartered here in Toronto. And but of course the production was going to happen. The product is designed in California. Our design team is in San Francisco, California, and our production was supposed to happen in China. So our timeline was actually going into production right after Chinese New Year, which is towards end of January. And that is where the sign of this coronavirus started to pop up, where it started to spread out of Wuhan and into other areas in China, and it started shutting down. And all of that is escalated pretty fast because before we knew it, early Feb, right after Chinese New Year, the whole China was shut down, no factories were opening up, and it was just mayhem. Nobody knew what was happening. And so for us, going into production was pretty much impossible, right? No factory was opening, nobody was taking any orders. Because of that, we weren't able to actually start our marketing and pre-order campaign to actually sell the product and then start shipping it. We were expecting to start shipping it within 90 days. So all of our plans they just went on hold, abruptly, all of a sudden it's hey, all of this is not happening and nobody knows what the timeline is. And so being a startup, it's very important to be resilient and adaptable to changes. And for us, it was just a matter of, okay, we have a very limited runway and we need to figure out the resources that we have. How do we adjust them? What do we do to survive this storm? And on top of that, I was actually in Middle East East. At that time, I was in Dubai. So far, we have raised around $5 million in seed money. And we were actually closing on another almost $2 million round of funding. And I was proactively taking meetings with investors and we were on the verge of closing them. And and I'm literally in Middle East and everything is looking fine. So towards end of February now, it's in China. It's slowly starting to spread in other Asian countries, but Middle East or North America was nothing was happening. It was all normal. It was business as usual. And so boom, in a matter of week and a half or 2 weeks, everything started shutting down there as well. So what had ended up happening is that our investment went on hold as well. So not only we weren't able to go into production, the equity that we were raising or fundraising we were doing, that went on hold as well. And that was an eye opener for us where we're just hey, what can we do? And that is where we came up with this idea where we were okay, we have tons of R&D, we have tons of resources that we can sort of dedicate towards the pandemic, because we knew the sanitization products, the disinfecting products, and all this is going to be the new reality. And so our team started working with our partners and all, and we started doing R&D, and that's where we came up with this new product called Airzai Care, which is an air and surface disinfectant. And so all of this took a couple of weeks for us to just set up our Shopify store, set up the production line, source the materials, and start shipping. And that just came out of nowhere. I couldn't even imagine us doing these kind of products if the pandemic or the virus have never come the world.
Wow, that's amazing. I've heard a lot of pivot stories on this podcast, but that is definitely going to take the cake for this podcast. Honestly, thanks for sharing, Muneeb. I appreciate that and appreciate your persistence as an entrepreneur. Muneeb, are there any new or emerging technologies that you're leveraging today within your company? Anything you might care to share with our audience?
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So I think, what has happened, and we've all seen this, the usage and the utilization of tech has just skyrocketed, right? I think everybody knew there was going to be virtual stuff that would be happening down the road, but nobody knew that it would be accelerated so fast, starting with remote work. So I would say that, look, internally, our teams are fully remote now. We actually have a head office in downtown Toronto, which has just been sitting empty for past 5 months now, because there's no more dependency on a physical commercial space. Initially, it was a little bit hard, but like everybody else, we sort of learned. Being a tech company, we already had processes in place. So I was actually in Middle East for 3 months after that. I was stuck there due to pandemic. So efficiently running the company, it was perfect. Now, talking about external aspect in our products, 100%, even though the product that we were building or we were inventing, it's primarily for fragrance. So bringing premium fragrance to indoor spaces. So like how you have it in your upscale hotels and all that experience. And we're doing there's Swiss made premium fragrances that we're using. So that experience is covered, but we're leveraging tech to actually enable that experience. So what I mean by that is it's not just a smart device by using it from your app. It's actually, it learns from your behavior. It actually adjusts to your lifestyle. So how much time you're spending in living room and then in your bedroom, and also it just sort of adjusts and diffuses fragrances accordingly. So I think one new aspect that we have seen that is picking up is just utilization of AI. I think this artificial intelligence that we're using, and I think predominantly the biggest use right now is combating your the COVID-19. And I think even in our products now, it was primarily supposed to be a fragrance-based product, and now we're looking at it as bringing in disinfectant properties as well. So when it's actually running in your home, we're leveraging the technology to not only make your home smell good, but actually disinfecting the environment as well. So I would say we're very excited to actually bring this product to the market, because the technology that we're leveraging is something that is not only going to bring premium experience, it's actually going to protect you and your loved ones or the guest in the home as well.
Thank you for sharing. That's most interesting how we're leveraging machine learning these days to our everyday lives and everything we do. And yours is just a perfect example of that. So thanks for sharing, Muneeb. Muneeb, last question here. Everybody wants to know more about you. Can you share something from your career experience that would be helpful for those looking to grow their career in leadership or break into entrepreneurship?
Oh, yeah, I love talking about this topic, to be honest. And you know what, actually, a little bit of a plug here, actually, too, because I started my social media, especially Instagram. I don't charge for anything, nothing at all. It was just when I used to talk to my team and we used to do huddles and all, and I would get people motivated. My social media manager, she was like, hey, Muneeb, do you mind if I record this video and put this on your Instagram? It's good if people listen to this as well. I was like, cool. And this was almost a year and a half ago or so. I'm closing in almost 100K followers. So it's I like to give back, sort of share what was my journey, because I'm still building and like, sort of going through that journey. So I think in a nutshell, Brian, like, what I would say is that for me, it's been, I think, 2 to 3 factors that have actually enabled me to keep going, to not quit, to sort of be where I am right now. And for any aspiring entrepreneurs, and I think like, there's a lot of people who are actually in 9 to 5 right now, they're looking to start something, or there are people who are stuck in their careers and they want to upgrade or sort of like, advance in their career. The number one advice I always tell everybody is that, and I really mean it, is to actually be passionate about what you're doing. I think life is too short to be stuck in a miserable job or with a miserable boss, or like in a situation or condition that doesn't get you excited on day-to-day basis. I think we all have it in our power to make that drastic change. It seems scary and it can feel scary, but once you take that step, that critical step, the freedom, the happiness, the success that comes with it is unparalleled. So I always, doesn't matter what stage of life you're at, what age you're at, it's just very important to sort of like, take that leap towards happiness. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I would say, again, a little bit cliche, but not quitting, whatever the circumstances are. And I think this pandemic is a perfect example of that. And I don't even want to take my example. I think there are so many people around me who have just like, doesn't matter if they were in hospitality business, travel business, that got totally floored, that got completely smashed. And rather than sort of like, dreading it, rather than actually stressing out about it, the first instinct that they had was that, okay, what do I have? What haven't I not lost yet? Or like, how can I rebuild this? Or what can I do to sort of like, get back on track, or even just survive? And I feel programming your mind or developing the discipline where any sort of, it doesn't matter what kind of adversity you're hit with, like, your mind defaults to finding an action plan rather than just like, surrendering or just giving up. Oh, you know what, this wasn't meant to be. And I think part of that is just, again, going back to my first point, which is just doing what you're passionate about. Because like, what else would you be doing in life, right? Like, it's just a matter of, okay, like, I have to scale down, I have to let go of some things, I have to do these, I have to make these critical decisions, or like, hard decisions. But ultimately, I will get back on 2 feet. So having that positive mindset, that belief in yourself, in your ability, because like, we all started from zero. And there is a reason we are, or where somebody is, right? So if they fall down, having that sort of mindset and believe that I can pick myself up and get back on there to that level and even further than that is critical. And I think like, I've read a lot of books of people who are far more successful, who have accomplished far more than where I am right now. And the common aspect that I find in all of them is just their ability to just handle the crisis and not give in. And that's where I think the breakthrough happens.
Amazing story, amazing journey, Muneeb. I appreciate you sharing that. That's amazing. Muneeb, it was a pleasure having you on the show today, and I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Likewise, thank you for having me. Thank you for like, sharing my thoughts, my 2 cents. It was fun. I had a great time. Thank you.
Bye for now.